A few people ask me how do I clean up the database and make it all, nice and neat. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sit here and clean up the database in front of you. Okay, starting from the beginning. I'm not going to talk from here on. I'm just going to code. So right now, there's a broken link. And the broken link is TV and radio because I wanted to remove those pages because it was making the thermodynamics of the cell phone hot. Because YouTube and Google algorithms, they provide you with the service by knowing your location, which causes the magnet in my phone to begin to heat up because there's no ice maker inside the phone to cool down the system. So, because I'm on the back end and the front end and then everything that's going on with it, I tested thermodynamics, and sure enough, having an iframe of a YouTube video on there turned the thermodynamics up to the heat, the temperature of the thermodynamics begin to rise. So to balance it out, I've removed the feature, which is TV and radio, to use a different source, which has a more balanced thermodynamics. But when I did that,
Flux
if
pinning.
I wanted to go and if somebody wanted to create the new word TV, they can't. They got to figure out a different thing to put there. Same thing with radio. Everything else works.
Condensation.
Okay? So, in order to clean that all up, this is what I do for now until I automate it like everything else. The first thing I want to do is jump into this JavaScript folder because this is for the 3D animation. You see that tag cloud? This is for the 3D animation. The two words that I deleted were the two things I deleted are TV and radio. So I'm going to delete that from this list, click save. The next one is the search.json. This right here is another log that I'm using, and this right here is for the search box on the side. So you see this search.json? This is for the hamburger menu. So on the hamburger menu in the search bar, this is where I go to clean that up. So I go in there, right? I copy the ones I want off the list. I click save. Don't mess up this list because there's a log that writes to it. And if you mess up that log, it'll mess it up. What's another one? Okay, there's no more logs in this folder. I want to skim through here. So I'm going to look for the HTML file and the text file of the keyword. So I'm going to scroll through here. I'm going to look for the HTML file of either TV or radio, which I've deleted, and if not, the text file of those two words, in which they're not in there because I've already deleted them. I don't have to clean that up. Also, I want to go to the index page. On the index page, there's another database back here that backs up what's on there. I want to delete these two and then click save. Another one is there's another database down in here also. So just in case that database crashes and it loses any information, this one right here also has it. So here's another database that has TV and radio on it. I click on save, and then we go back up a step. We're gonna click on this one. This one has a database on it also. We want to look for TV and radio. And by the way, people's like, these are databases. Yep. Each one is a database that mirrors the other. There's so many mirrors. And that should be the only, and the XML. See the XML right here? This right here has TV and radio on it. I want to remove that from the XML to keep that up to date. So boom, here goes the XML file. Click on that and save. Altogether, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different databases. So there's 6 different databases that are all the same database. When one gets messed up, the other one will be able to fix the other. And the reason I say that is because I have another logger I'm going to build, and I'm going to tell that logger to check those files to make sure that they're completely correct. Meaning that they don't have, I think I was going to use regex, and take a regex file and put it in there and say, watch out for these different combinations that mess up the actual forms themselves and the database structures themselves. If not, you can manually going in there and you don't have to worry about it. It's not like an SQL. See, an SQL is harder because it's trapped inside of the software. And just by you extracting it, sometimes it won't let you extract it because it's too large. I don't know if you all know, but sometimes logs files can get too big and you can't take them and put them anywhere and do anything with them sometimes. It's different with text files. With text files, you can split them. You can split them into packets, and then you can take the packets and break them down into something easier to transform. Once I've done that, I close out everything because I know exactly everything's clean now. Once everything's clean that I want it to clean out, which it would be like that for you. Now, when I type in TV doesn't exist. Okay, so since TV doesn't exist, I can I've done some updates also to it. I wanted to put that in there lowercase, so TV is not in there. So I have to go on here to a different page. Flex Pitting is not speaking. Okay, TV. Oh, I gotta go back and fix that again. All right, so lines 23, it exited out. Okay, that exited out. We want to stop that from exiting out. I was working on something else. That's why I changed it around now, so that it could stop it could stop the flow of traffic. Okay, so now we should be able to create TV. TV is there. It's there. What was the other one that was on there? Radio. Now we can create the word radio. The word radio is there. For most people, like, well, what about the database? The database is right there. Um, the results when you type in the search box, right? So, say the word doesn't exist. If I type in a bunch of different letters, nothing is going to be there. It'll be all disappeared. Okay. Now, that's basically, it's still there in front of you doing what it's doing, but I've just changed the opacity to 0. I put the actual results in the center. So the center represents the core of the earth, and the sphere represents the, what we stand on, the surface of the earth. Okay, so now say you want to look for something that's going to match up. So if we're searching for water, when we're searching for water, guess what? It finds water. But got to remember, with water orbits, it's always an anti-water. So the anti-water is up there. You see this one right here? That's anti-water. This right here is actual water, and I can click on that. Another one is people's like, well, can it search for? Yes, I can type in water. I click OK. It can. It says that the file exists. You can click on it. It brings you to the page water. People's like, well, can it go directly to the page? Yes, it can go directly to the page, but it would be better if I let the robot speak to the developer while it's doing what it's doing. So say that you're on the back end. There's a speech utterance. So if you're using this software I'm using on my iPhone, see, I'm using PHP Win on an iPhone. If you use what I'm using and you download this and you put it in your root folder and you put it in the top root folder, you can hear the robot talking to you every time it creates a page and every time it knows that it already has that page. It'll be like, I already know I have that page. Or if you create it, be like, oh, I remember that for next time. So basically, I've got the PHP talking and utterances out loud in order to tell me what it's doing in the background and whether it's completed the task I've told it to do. So whenever I'm doing the computer code in PHP, the PHP, it utters with JavaScript something. And then on the JavaScript end, I was going to do something else different because it also has functions to read and write. So basically, if something breaks and the JavaScript detects it, its error code would send it to an action page to fix it. So when something breaks and the JavaScript detects it and it gives off an error, the error sends the viewer, whether it be another server that visited the page or a client human, to fix itself. So say if a page was missing or broken, the computer, when you go to it and it says page not here, instead of it saying page not here, what it does is it creates the page and says the page is there. There's a reason I've done that. And for many of you, why is that? Because that's what makes it smarter in how to fix itself, to defend itself against certain things. Like any kind of viruses and stuff like that. Whenever it hears the name, it starts working on something to stop it from messing itself up. So it's kind of like the human biology, the principles of the human anatomy. You have to think about the biology of us. Our biology is very dominant. So when it comes down to the immune system has a library of everything that we wouldn't allow in our libraries in order to solve a balanced human existence in biology. So that immune system's working tirelessly to figure that stuff out. And then there's the nervous system. I think I could use JavaScript as a nervous system. And I say that because, or recognition system, in which it's sensation. So when the sun is shining down on your skin and you can feel it, that right there would represent the nervous system or cognition of the machine. And the PHP and the Python on top of that, because the Python, when I add that on there, the Python will begin to do certain things above this. So yeah, we've got PHP there, but when we add Python on there, Python can do a lot of different types of things. Another one is we're almost to where all of this is going to be on the canvas. So I was trying to explain to everybody that you see the 3D object when you're on here. The three-dimensional object is right here. Okay, so the database, when you're on there, that's the three-dimensional object that's there. Actually, it's on database, yeah. So when you're on that page, when I turn that into a canvas, when you start to zoom out, this right here is going to zoom out even further than that. But this sphere is going to get bigger as you zoom out. So the more you zoom out, the bigger the sphere gets. But it's more and more you zoom out, the sphere stays with you. But the center, you see the center right there? That goes further away. And that's where y'all are going to start to realize that it's a bigger canvas than what you think it is. And then that's when I'll put the camera in there to see what we find. Because with the camera, we will be able to walk around in this three-dimensional world right here. And then you can control this sphere because it's your sphere. And whichever, it's a different sphere for everybody. Everybody's sphere is different. But other than that, everything's all cleaned up in there. I'll upload this when I get done. And hopefully, let me think for a second. Let me go back here and double check something. So if I go here to this page and I type in something that's not there and I click enter, I don't have to worry about that. Wow, it's spelled Siri. I wonder why it's spelled Siri for. What? I clicked enter and it spells Siri? I wonder why I did that for. Siri. Okay. Other than that, I was just double checking something to make sure that all of that was working. Yep. Everything's working so far. I'll upload the next of it, but that's what I was working on.